Yo. RX back with another recap of, well, I guess it wouldn't be another because I've not really done many of these. This ain't a recap of a card, not a breakdown of a card. This is a recap of a season, that being the Dana White Contender Series, Season 9, 2025's edition of the Contender Series. A week after the season ended, I think it's more than appropriate to do a recap for the season. The only other season thing I've ever recapped was Tough this year, and I really enjoyed that video, so why not do it again here? Found like a fun idea. Why not? Look over the season, see how this ages a year later. I know I did a recap for every week, but I think it would be good to look over everything one more time and just give a full view of what happened in the season, which of course was great. It's the Contender Series. I don't need to tell you it was great. Or was every week perfect? No. But again, it's Contender Series. I don't need to tell you it was great. Probably a 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10 season. It's Dana White's Contender Series. It's fucking amazing. This is something I came up with, thought about last week, and I think y'all are gonna enjoy this. Again, I did this with Ultimate Fighter, which obviously this is better and bigger than the Ultimate Fighter. So I'm excited. Gonna go down the weeks, talk about all the contract winners, most of the fights, unless it was a forgettable one. Talk about who I thought was the best contracts, worst contracts, best fights. Yeah, just look an overview, look back, however you want to phrase it, and sound like a fun idea. Something to do with go back over Contender Series one more time, since last time we'll talk about this year's set at least. Give it one more farewell, because we love it, and yeah, so said I was going to do this last week, doing it now. I love the idea, let's do it. Not really a whole lot else to say before getting into this. I guess the only thing left to say is the normal YouTube bullshit. Please like, comment, and subscribe. 10 subs goal by the end of 2025. And I'll tell you that, I really don't know how to, I'm so used to doing breakdowns and recaps of, cards. It's weird to just do an overview of something. But, yeah, I guess we can just dive right in, shall we? So, I think I described what this video was gonna be. I did YouTube bullshit. Think we can get into it, shall we? We got 10 weeks to talk about. Look back on 51 fights in total, but again, we won't go in depth on all of them, or most of them, really. Let's get into it, I say. Shall we? Let's go. Let's our love letter to Contender Series this year. Let's do it. Contender Series Season 9 recap. Let's do it. We'll go all the way back to week 1, of course, where it all began on August 12th. Week 1 of the Contender Series, where we had maybe one of the weakest weeks in terms of top tier talent and contracts, but we did get probably the, as of right now, best fighter of the season, the fighter of the season, the fighter you think about with the season. So this was a decent week to look back on it. Obviously, we began the season with Yuri and Hewitt. Not a great fight. A guy returning for a second attempt against a guy who failed to get to his UFC debut because of a weight miss. Not great. Bradley De Silva and George Mongos, one of the worst fights of the season. But then we got to the guy. Again, right now, the guy you think about when you think of this season, the biggest star from it as of right now. I think one of the only 2 or 3 fighters to have debuted at this point, which is insane. He debuted before the next episode of Contender Series even aired. Obviously, I'm talking about Basanger, Susarkayev. First contract of the season, no doubt earned it. Again, the fighter you think about with this season right now, because he'd already had his fight. Obviously, we all know he debuted. I'll click on their profiles. He debuted at what was it again? At 319. Could have had a better performance, but again, 2 to 3 days to prepare for Eric Nolan. Still got to win. He'll be fighting in November, about actually a couple weeks from now, against Eric McConaughey for a second UFC fight. Already making a good impression. Again, as of right now, fighter of the season. Kid looks really good. 10-0, 24 years old. Yeah, he's good. Hamzat's friend. We'll see how far this kid can go. He'll easily beat McConaughey. He'll definitely be one of the rookies of the years this year. Top 15, top 10 more than likely for sure. And yeah, obviously the fighter of the season, first contract of the season, no doubt earned. What else can you really say? Then, after him, we did get our second final contract of this episode, and maybe one more forgettable contract this season, but still deserved one, that being Ty Miller. Yeah, had a very fun fight here against Jimmy Drago. Probably should have got a finish, but Drago's tough. Miller, very good, very green. One of the greener fighters of the season to get a contract, but he looked good. He did deserve the contract. He's a very interesting prospect, 6-0, 25 years old. At welterweight, very tall for the weight class. I think the only person, I think he's still 2 inches shorter than Randy Brown somehow. Yeah, he's an interesting case. I think he could be a bust for sure because he is very green, and going into the Shark Tank that is welterweight's kind of scary. But yeah, I think he did deserve the contract. Again, didn't get a finish, but he looked good. Again, Drago was tough. Miller would have probably finished a lot of the guys that were on this season in this division. And yeah, he's a very interesting prospect, very young, high potential, but high chance of busting. That sounds bad. Of being a bust. And yeah, I'm intrigued to see him in the UFC. He was one of the only guys who I had an idea for their debut. I would still be down to see Ty Miller fight Billy Ray Goff. I think it'd be a fun fight and an easy debut win for Miller. But we'll see if they go with that idea, and when he fights, he'll fight. Obviously, nothing booked at the moment. We probably won't see him till next year. And we'll see how he does. A very interesting prospect here. So I definitely got overlooked this episode because of Susurkayev, and obviously no duh. But yeah, for being the other contract of this episode that no one really remembers, I think he could be decent. But he also could kind of be a flop, so time will tell. And then for the first main event of the season, one of the worst fights of the season, not much to say there. Ilian Bufia versus Nimias Santana, the worst fight on this card, one of the worst fights of the season, probably the worst main event of the season. Complete joke, not much to say. Yeah, this was a good starting point. Again, only 2 contracts, not great. But again, you did get Susurkayev out of it, who obviously has already debuted. Ty Miller could be an interesting one. And then that was about that. Main event was a dud. Mangos and Silva was another terrible fight, but you could bring both guys back in the future. Ewan and Panfarov, and I could see Panfarov stepping on short notice in the future. Fine opening week, one of the weaker weeks of the season, but for the starting point and to give us the fighter of the season as of right now on it, not bad. Good. It was good to have Contender Series back, and it was a good starting point. Then we head to week 2, a week later, which let me look. Yeah, this kind of felt more like Contender Series a bit. Still, Contender Series was still finding its footing again. This episode was better, but was not great as we head to August 19th for week 2, a week later, where we got many more contracts and many more fighters. Everyone got a contract here. Let's get into it with the best fighter of the episode, in my opinion, opening the night of week 2, Ramiro Jimenez, the 3rd contract of the season, 11-0, 26 years old, got a beautiful first round finish in under 3 minutes. I think Jimenez is one of the better fighters of the season. I'm very excited to see him in the UFC. He looked very good here. Again, 11-0 and 26 years old. This kid could be good. I think this kid has a high ceiling. I think he's a very interesting prospect at, I believe, featherweight. He's not bad. I think, again, I'm definitely rank him on one of the better fighters of the season list. Best fighter of this episode, in my opinion. He's good. I'm very excited to see Jimenez in the UFC. It sucks they couldn't get him on Noche, but what can you do? I'm going to be very intrigued for his debut. I want to be shocked if he debuts when I go to Mexico, I think February, March, whenever. This kid's interesting. This kid's very interesting. Earned the contract. Great, really looking like an interesting fighter. See how he does in his career. Again, one of the better fighters of the season, in my opinion. I'm intrigued. I think he has a high ceiling. Then we had maybe the most controversial fighter of the season, Josh Hokett, the first heavyweight of the season, which there was a couple. 6-0, 27 years old. Obviously, with Josh, you kind of got to talk about him in two parts. The performance, where he looked fine. He's just a basic wrestler. Nothing special. He really didn't show a lot of striking from what I remember. He kind of just spammed takedowns, gassed the guy and finished him. We've seen that plenty of times at heavyweight, John Almeida. So that's not really a very sustainable fighting style, but it worked on Contender Series. And yeah, he looks like another mid-tier heavyweight, nothing special. Could probably beat some of the blobs who can't defend a takedown or never heard of a takedown. But do I think he's going to be some great thing? No. And then, yeah, obviously the controversial part of it was his post-fight interviews where he said a bunch of shit. He had tried to go Colby. He was trying to be a Colby Covington type of thing, which is fine. I didn't mind anything he said. If I remember, one or two things were funny, but most of it was just okay, just trying to get attention. Silly, but whatever, good for him. He got people talking, so he did. Any publicity is good publicity, I guess, as they would say, and he got people talking about him, so people are gonna cheer for him to lose. So people will be watching him fight. So people want interesting shit at heavyweight. He will be that. So yeah, not much to say about Josh. Not gonna say he didn't earn the contract because you need heavyweights. But yeah, so far he's the weakest fighter of the season, but again, heavyweights are needed. He was an interesting character, and he's not counting Tsutakayev, he's the first fighter we've talked about who has a fight booked. He has his debut already booked on November 8th, which we'll be talking about that in 3 weeks against some debuting Brazilian guy. We'll see how this goes for Josh. Yeah, so he already has his debut booked. We'll see how he does. People will probably cheering for him to lose. Can he get his takedowns? We'll see. Again, probably the most controversial fighter of the season. I'm not saying a lot because everyone else was kind of chill. So, see how he does. Then we had our third contract of the episode, our fifth one of the season. At bantamweight, the first of a few Brits of the season, Lewis Lee Scott, 10-0. 25 years old. He looked alright. He did fight an Indian, which kind of got get nerfed for that. Obviously, they're not known for being the greatest. And I believe the Indian guy took a round off Scott, if I remember correctly. Yeah, not very much to say here. We didn't really get. He saw some of his game. He looks to be alright. Nothing special. At bantamweight, good luck. He could be a guy. You're not going to be Davey Grant, buddy. But he is young, 25, 10-0. We'll see how he does. Not a lot to say. One of the more forgettable guys of the season. The guy who, again, didn't look great or terrible. He was yeah, he was there. Got a finish. So he did get the contract there. But, yeah, not really a guy who I was oh, gotta keep an eye on this guy. He's British. They're gonna sign him. See how he does at the bantamweight fish tank. Yeah, Shark Tank, really. Yeah, we'll see what he does in UFC. probably the most forgettable guy of this episode for sure. Then in the co-main, we had the only other guy to have already debuted so far, I believe, Cam Rouston in the co-main, 13-3, 30 years old. Obviously, he already made his UFC debut a couple of weeks ago against Andre Petroski, where he obviously got the win. And not the greatest win in the world, but, you know, it's what it is. I don't think he's very good. I think he's the worst fighter to get signed so far. Not again, first round finish, fine, you can get a contract. But A, he fought Tomato Can, and B, I don't think he's very good. This was his second attempt on the show. So I think he was one. I think only like 2 or 3 guys came back and got a contract. Obviously, he lost to Taurus Finney in that first fight a couple years ago, which, you know, not great. And yeah. But he did, again, win in his debut. Andre Petroski, not a big win. Petroski's fucking terrible. But, win the win. We'll see how he does in his future fights. City Kickboxing member, I think one of 2 to get signed this season. If the other guy I'm thinking of was City Kickboxing. If not, then obviously Cam was the only one. I think he's gonna be pretty forgettable in the UFC. He'll be like a fucking 2-4 guy. He's not very good. He's kinda tall. They call him Battle Giraffe. You know, again, he's 6'3". Yeah. We'll see how he does. Not very much else to say. Again, probably the worst fighter signed so far, but first round finish, City Kickboxing, Australian. He'll get signed, and again, he looked fine in debut. Again, Andre Petroski's fucking terrible, but he fought who he was given, did fine. Yeah, I think he's the weakest fighter signed so far. And then the main event, we had a banger to end this episode. Unlike the week before, this one was a banger one. The many beatdowns of the season, where a guy just wouldn't go down. And the winner of that main event, and the guy who just put a beating on his opponent, was Jose Delano, 16-3, 29 years old. Delano was very hyped up going into this episode. I remember people talking about him like he could be one of the ones. And he looked good. He looked very good for 15 minutes. He just put a beating on Manuel, who wouldn't go down. Manuel's a tough motherfucker, one of the toughest fighters this season. Again, one of those fights where it's just like, god damn, this guy won't die, which happened to many times on this fucking season. And, yeah, but for 15 minutes, Delano kept his cool and looked very good. Earning the contract for sure, going into featherweight, which is another talent-heavy division. See how he does. A lot of people have hype for this guy. I thought he looked good. I'm intrigued to see what he can do. Well-rounded to see. Well, actually, I don't think we saw his grappling at all, but I'm guessing he's well-rounded. See how he does. More of the first pretty experienced record we've seen so far this season to get a contract. It's not 9-0. Actually, I think he's the first non-undefeated guy to know Cam Rouston. The first good non-undefeated guy to get a contract. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Delano, very promising prospect, looked good here. A lot of people have hype for him. See how far he can go. Pretty simple. He ended this episode a lot better than the guys in week 1, so I'll give him props there. And yeah, that was week 2. Very decent, a lot better than week 1 overall. I still think Suzukai is the best fighter compared to this week, but Jimenez is very good. Got some interesting things here again. The most controversial fighters this season, Hokit, Delano has a lot of hype, Rouston already has debuted, the first Brit of the season, so you know they're gonna hype him up. This was a good episode. Better than week 1. Very decent episode. Jimenez, best fighter of the episode. Rouston the worst, but he did deserve it. Good week 2, kind of getting their footing now. And yeah, some good shit here. On a week of all 5 contracts, getting the first all 5 winner circle contracts, whatever you want to say. Deserved, but we'll see how far the guys here go. Very decent week 2. Then in week 3, we really got our footing with the best episode so far. A week later, for the third week, again, where we really start to get our footing, on the 26th of August. This was a good one. This is when we really started to get our footing, and this one, the season really feels like it started going, like, got good. Easily the best episode week so far. So let's look into it. Another 5 contract night, even though this one's a lot more debatable. But the first contract was not, as we began at heavyweight. Another heavyweight sign, even though this guy is now going to be debuting at middleweight. Kicking off week 3 with Dante Johnson, 6-0, 26 years old. Was he the one who stepped on a short nose, or was the opponent? Neither. Oh yeah, this was booked on short nose for both guys, so never mind. Johnson got the win here quickly, got the contract, deserved. They need big guys, even though he's a very tiny guy. He fought up in weight class at heavyweight, where he weighed like 209, which is insane. And obviously, like I said, he's another guy who already has his debut booked, and he'll be fighting at middleweight in a couple weeks. We'll look at that in a second. But yeah, crazy. The mad respect for him there. Short notice call, you gotta take it. And yeah, got the contract. See how he does. And again, he already has his debut booked, from fighting at heavyweight on Contender Series to fighting at middleweight. He will be fighting Cedricus Dumas on November 1st. It was meant to be Nick Klein, but Dumas stepped in the other day, so we'll be talking about this fight next week. Johnson should win. We'll see how he does, going from heavyweight to middleweight. And yeah, good to see him staying active. See how he does. Hopefully something decent, not a waste of space. Yeah, good shit. Not much to say. Then we had, in the second fight of week 3, the first bad contract of the season. The first contract of the season I don't agree with. That being Emmanuel Sosa, 13-1, 28 years old. Okay, why do I not agree with this contract? Because in this fight against Christian Perez, he got dominated for 2 rounds badly. Just got taken down and manhandled. And then he did get to finish in 3 minutes into round 3. So yeah, you'd think, oh, why not give him a contract? Nice comeback, but like, it was only a comeback because you suck. Because you got your ass handed to you for fucking 2 rounds. So, I just, like, I get the comeback was really nice, but like, he should have not got a contract. He's not good. He's going to, like, put him in there with Jordan Levitt, Grant Dawson, any of those guys who are like grapplers who can go 15 minutes. He's gonna get 30-27 easily. He's not good, and the only reason he was here because he beat Mauricio Rufy, which we know how good that's age now. Yeah, I think this is the first bad contract of the season, undeserved contract. I don't think this guy's good at all. I think he's gonna get destroyed in UFC. If they give him a good hard debut opponent, he's an easy fade, because he will be the favorite. Yeah, this guy's not good. First undeserved contract of the season. At least it took to week 3 to get that, and yeah, not really much else to say there. Maybe you'll prove me wrong. Of course, I'd be more than happy to be proven wrong since you're now in the UFC, but I have my doubts. Then we go to the third fight of the week, for week 3, and I think the fighter of the week of this episode, Abdurrahman Yakiyayev, 7-0, 24 years old, from Turkey. Yeah, this guy's good. A long name. Yeah, he's good. Ran through his opponent in, 17 seconds? 30 seconds. Yeah, kind of like Surzakayev. Guy looks good. Didn't get to see a lot of him, but he ran through his opponent, got a contract. In my opinion, the fighter of this episode looked good. Excited to see him in the UFC. Didn't get to see a lot of him, but we will be seeing him on November 22nd, because he's another guy who has a debut already booked, where he'll be fighting Rafael Cerqueira. Yeah, this is the layup. Is Cerqueira moving down the middle? Yakiyayev. Oh no, my guy fought at light heavyweight. I don't know why I thought he was a fucking middleweight. Because the Sursakai comparison, dude. Yeah, they're giving him a layup in his debut. He will show up and show out there in Qatar. Yeah, excited to see that. Jakyayev, kind of an unknown, who again we didn't get to see a lot, but he looks good in the 30 seconds we did see. He could be another one of the ones, man. Time will tell. Not really much else to say. Yeah, he looks good. Then in the co-main of the card, we had another good finish and a good contract earning performance here. Another veteran, not the veterans really did start to take over later in the season, and this is another one as we have the co-main, our next contract, Marcio Barbosa, 17 and 2, 27 years old. Yeah. Got a nice finish, was something this guy's known for from what I remember. 14 first round finishes. This was his 14th. He had 13 going into this. Yeah, dude looked good. Got the first round finish against a pretty bad fighter, looked like. Yeah, looked good. Going into featherweight, I believe, which doesn't hurt to get some knockout power in that division. No debut booked yet. Let's see how many knockouts this guy can get in the UFC. Already has 14 going into his debut. Whenever that gets booked, that should be interesting. Should be very interesting. Looked good here. See what you can do. Not really much else to say. And then in the main event, we had, did he come in on short notice? I think his opponent did, yes, with an opponent change last minute. We had in the main event the last contract winner on another 5 contract winner night, and the main event guy was, of course, the last one, that being Ryan Gondra, 8-1, 30 years old. Yep, ran through his short notice opponent here. He's a Paulo Costa training partner. He looked good. We'll see what he can do. Going into middleweight, they need anyone they can get. Yeah, see what he can do. Looked good. About all I can say. I know, kind of generic, but I already know what else to say. He looked pretty good. Earned a contract. See what he does. Warmed to the middleweight. And, yeah, that was week 3. Very decent week. The Sosa fight was kind of a dud. It was a decent fight, but he shouldn't have got a contract. The other 4 were very good. Yep, easily the best week so far. Some really good talent, like Barbosa, Yakyayev looked good, Gondra could be good, Johnson could be good. We'll see in the next week. Sosa, I think, is gonna suck, but maybe I'll be wrong. Yeah, I am, let's see what happens. Let's fucking see what happens here. A lot of guys signed here. Another 5 signing week, even though it should only been 4. Best week of the season so far. Really starting to get their have completely got their footing now. After 2 weeks of decent, but not what it could be. This is what Contender Series is meant to be. Very good. Yeah, 2 of these guys already have their debut booked. Other 3 Brazilians, we'll see when they fight. Very good. And very good week. Then we go to week 4, which I believe was this the best week so far? Yes, this was easily the best week so far. So yeah, I know every week is better. Eventually we'll hit a wall where the next week is not better, but again, going into week 4, better than week 3. I'm excited to talk about it, so let's do just that. Beginning with the first fight of week 4 and the first contract being Tommy McMillan, who got the win in what should have been a draw in my opinion, but it wasn't. Debatable decision. Moves to 9-0, 27 years old, a Sean O'Malley apprentice. Another guy who's extremely green. He's good, but he's super green against a lot of guys in the UFC. He will not survive at featherweight, right? Yes. He's talented, obviously, but I could definitely this world where he gets fraud checked, because again, he's just green. Again, this fight should have been a draw. Great fight, one of the best fights of the season, the best fight of the season up to that point. But yeah, definitely could have been better. Could got on the big lights. We'll see how he does in his debut. We'll see. Pretty simple. Very green. Has potential though. I'm intrigued. Great fight. Should have been a draw though. And then I'll talk about the losers of the fight after, because I definitely got something to say about David McGoyan, but we'll move on. Then we skip the next. We don't have anything to say about Eduardo Henrique because he didn't get a contract because this fight was boring. Simple. And then we move to our next contract in the third fight of week 4. Rat Garbage, Maldonado, 14-3, 36 years old. Yeah, the oldest contract winner, I think oldest fighter of the season, a Bellator veteran and all that, been around the block, has a lot of finishes. I don't think he's ever went to decision now. Yeah, got a nice finish here, even though it was a really weird knockout where it looked fake, but you know, it's what it is. Getting a veteran in the middleweight division, or is it welterweight? In the lightweight division, I mean, not middleweight. Yeah, Rat Garbage, fun. Wish he fought on Saturday on the Vancouver card because, God, they would needed someone entertaining like him. But, yeah, getting a veteran, cool. Looked good, welcome to the UFC. Go to get a veteran in the UFC. And, yeah, see how long Rat Garbage can last at 36 years old. Yeah. Then we have the first brother of the season, one of, I believe, 2 in the co-main of week 4. Cezay Oleszejczuk, 16-3, 25 years old. Obviously Michael Oleszejczuk's brother, and just like his brother Mikhail, Cezay got really good power, got a knockout in round 1, he got a contract. Obviously training out to Fighting Nerds, which means he'll probably get smashed in the UFC because they can't buy a win right now. And yeah, we'll see how far he can go. He's young. Obviously Mikhail's on a streak right now. We'll see if Cezay can do some good work in the UFC, both at middleweight. Yeah, gonna get more Polish power in the UFC. Another pair of brothers in the UFC. And see what happens. Cezay's another guy who already has his debut booked for the last card of the year on December 13th, where he's in a banger with Cesar Almeida. That's a tough debut. That's a very good fight. 25 versus 37 years old. They're throwing Cezay right into the fucking lion's den. That'll be a fun fight. We're gonna learn a lot about Cezay there, and I'm intrigued. Another Oleszejczuk in the UFC, more Polish power in the UFC, another Fighting Nerd in the UFC, even though I guess maybe the Polish ones don't got that curse on them of losing every fight recently. And yeah, see how Cezay does. And then in the main event, we had another very impressive performance to end week 4. Another great main event. After week 1, it seems like every main event was great, it seems. As this one ended with a contract-winning performance from Jean-Paul Buciani, 9-2, 26 years old. Had a beautiful head kick and I guess right hand finish that put the opponent out cold, got the contract. Apparently everyone in the UFC loves him, like all the staff members and shit. He looked good, earned the contract, ended week 4 on a high. See what this guy can do. Yeah, it looked very good, very impressive. I'm excited to see him debut, whenever that is. And yeah, they looked really fucking good. Not really much else to say. very good week 4. Very good way to end off week 4. Again, the best week of the season so far. You had 3 great finishes. Very great opening fight. Yeah, very good. I enjoyed it. Had a lot of good prospects signed. Not really much else to say. Easily the best week at this point. And yeah, it was good. Very good. And then we go from that week 4 to the halfway point of the season, that being week 5, which was another good week, but I think, was it a step down from week 4? I don't know. It's about the same level, I would say, as of course a week later we hit the halfway point of week 5, which began with the first female fight of the season, Carol Froyo versus Chanel Dyer. Froyo did get the big upset win in the contract. She looked very good. Very Andrade-like, if I remember, where she's just a little Terminator, 9-1, 28 years old. Yeah, she looked good. Earned the contract, had a good fight, got like 3 knockdowns. Impressive. Very, very impressive. What wasn't impressive was her opponent, who also got signed, the first loser of the season to get signed. I think there was only 2, and they were both females. Chanel Dyer, I'll say it right now, the worst contract of the season. 6-1, 24 years old. I get she's young. That's why you didn't need to sign her right now. The only reason she got signed is because she's British. Like, truly the only reason. She's not good, at least right now. She got completely fraud-checked here as a giant favorite. She was a punching bag. She got 29-27, or at least should have been. Yeah, she should not got signed right now. In the future, yes, she's young, bring her back. But right now, after this fight, there's no reason you should have signed her. She did not deserve it. She's not good. And, yeah, again, the worst contract of the season. I can take that with full faith. And actually, again, I think that where Dana really didn't give out many bad contracts this season, so I'll give him respect when it's due. This was his worst one. Complete mistake here. And, yeah, just worst contract of the season. Gonna happen eventually. He can't be perfect all the time. But, yeah, this was a dud. She only got signed because she's British. Not cool. Not needed. But then we go back to fighters earning their contracts with wins, as we have in the second fight of week 5. Our next contract winner, another Brazilian. Most of them were Brazilian this year. Samuel Sanchez, 11-1, 22 years old. He beat the returning Jason Blair. Beat him even easier than Cody Steele did. He's young, had a nice knockout. Let's see what he can do. Looked good. Not much to say. Yeah. Let's see what he can do. Pretty simple. Then obviously we had Freddy Vidal and Felipe Franco. We all know what happened to Freddy Vidal. We'll talk about that later. Franco super hyped up to just get actually not by anyone who actually have watched him. He was super. Everyone said he was a fraud, and they were right. Yeah, lost to a guy who stepped on a short notice. And again, we'll talk about Freddy later. Yeah, shit fight. Shit fighters. Yeah. But then we get back on track with this card with back-to-back bangers to end it, beginning with our co-main winner in our next contract, Larian Douglas, 13-5, 30 years old, a very experienced veteran getting a contract here. Gunslingers, right? Because he put Cam Teague out cold. Maybe one of the best knockouts of the season. Cam Teague returning after losing Kevin Vallejos a year or 2 ago. Got put out even faster and easier here. Great performance by Douglas. This dude's gonna have some bangers in UFC, kind of like that Barbosa guy from a few weeks back. Yeah. He earned the contract, no duh. Great knockout in, 30 seconds or some shit? One of the best knockouts of the season. Looked great. Veteran added to the roster. Yeah. What else can I say? And then for the main event, more heavyweight action, and easily the best heavyweight so far, not counting. I still think probably better than Johnson, and he's actually a heavyweight. As we had our contract winner, another upset, and another heavyweight add to the roster in the main event to end week 5. Steven Asplund, 6-1, 27 years old. Josh Hogan might have been the worst, well, maybe not worst, but the most controversial guy of the season. Steven Asplund might have been the best person of the season. He just seems like a great guy. Like, they got to win here, 16 seconds or some shit. Looked great, earned the contract, had great interviews after the fact. Again, just seems like the nicest dude of the season. Good for him. Excited to see him in the UFC. Heavyweight needs anything they can get. This is a good addition to it. Just to have another body at worst. Best case, he's good, and you got a really likable guy in the division. Yeah, awesome. Happy he won here. And he already has a debut booked, December 13th, on the last card of the year, alongside, didn't we already talk about someone else? Yes, Seze. So him and Seze will be debuting on the same card, as Asplund will be fighting Sean Sharif in his debut, again, on the last card of the year. He should win that. Sharif's not very good. And, yeah, should be good to see Steven get the W there. Happy to see him in the UFC. Again, probably the best person of the season, it would seem. Nicest guy, whatever you want to say. Excited to see him in the UFC. Yeah, looked good. Looked good. Can't look better. And 16-second knockout. What else do you fucking want? Jesus. Welcome to the UFC. To the nicest guy of the season. And that was week 5. Very good. Very good. Better than week 4. They both, with week 4, the Antonio one? Yeah, so both did have 4 great fights and 1 dud. The Vidal fight versus the Eduardo Henrique one. Ooh, was it better than week 5? Yeah, I'd probably take, or better than week 4, I'd probably take week 5 over week 4 so far. Good, very good, some good prospects. First female fight, good to see. Asplund, Douglas, Sanchez, Froyo, good additions, good week. I enjoyed it. Again, it did give us the worst contracts of the season, so that might take it a notch down, but it was fun, very good, and a good halfway point of the season. But we ain't done yet. We got 5 more to talk about, and we're already 42 minutes in. Doesn't feel like it has been that long at all, but this is just fun, so let's continue. As a week later, we began the second half of the season with week 6. A very interesting week. I would not say this was in contention for being the best week. I think 5 and 4 were probably better. This was a very good week as well. So let's get into it. Week 6, which I swear every fight outside week 1, every week's first fighter got a contract outside week 1, I swear to God. And we began the second half of the season, week 6, with our first fight on week 6, or in our first contract of the second half of the season. Cody Chovanec, whatever, 9-0, 27 years old. Another Canadian, which after seeing last season where they couldn't buy a win, to see him get 2 winners, cool. I think Rat Garbage was a little bit better than Cody, but you know, we'll see. Bantamweight, see how he does there. Didn't beat a great fighter, but what can you do? Welcome to the UFC. Got a nice 3rd round finish after. He did do a little bit of cheating in his fight, cage grabbing and shit, but whatever, don't do it again and we'll excuse it. Got to finish late, good win, earned the contract. We'll see how he does. We'll see how he does. Then we had another one of the worst fights of the season with Patty McCory and Su Huang. 2 tomato cans, neither are good. I won't be shocked if Patty gets a short-nosed call for a fight in the future. But yeah, this was again one of the worst fights of the season. It's always 4 good fights and 1 dud this season, I don't get it. But then we got back on track with our next fight, our next contract winner at lightweight, I think the second oldest contract winner of the season, Tommy Gant, 11-0, 32 years old, or one of the old. I felt like I thought he was older. A DC training partner or something like that. He was really hyped up by DC. He looked good. He's a former wrestler. He showed that completely. Very good wrestling skills here. Didn't really get to see any striking, but maybe in the future. He is, again, 32, so he has to start fighting ASAP. He looks good. Good win here. Earned a contract. Not really much else to say. Again, at 32, you have to impress to get a contract, and you need to start fighting in the UFC ASAP, so let's see if he does either of those two things, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Then in the co-main, one of the bigger upsets of the season, it felt like, as we had at light heavyweight. Again, one of the bigger upsets of the season, and our third contract of the night, EOO Barney Reski, no idea if I said that right, 6-0, 26 years old, obviously got a beautiful quick finish over Muhammad Ali. Yes, he's named after the good one. Big underdog, got the nice finish. More Polish power at light heavyweight. Do they not fight in smaller weight classes? Do they only fight at heavyweight through middleweight? I'm trying to think, have I, like, male-wise, has there been a, like, smaller Polish fighter? There probably is, and I'm blanking on his name. Oh yeah, that shitty guy who fought William Gomez. Mateusz Gamrot, yeah, he sucks too. So, I guess the Polish power is only there if you're in a higher weight class, so... And, yeah, EOO clearly got it. Looked good here. Beautiful knockout. Welcome to the UFC. Yeah, light heavyweight needs bodies. He's a body. Cool. Not really much else to say. See how he does. Nice upset win here. Earned the contract. See what happens. And then in the main event of week 6, we had the feel-good story of the season, as we had to end week 6 with a bang and a really happy note. Again, the feel-good story of the season, that being Hector Sosa, 14-1, 30 years old. Why was he the feel-good story of the season, you may ask? That is because while he was cutting weight, I believe like 2 or 3 days before his fight, I think his father died or whatever, and he still cut the weight, made it to the fight. So, like, A, no one ever has an excuse to miss weight ever again. You're just fucking lazy. And B, then he goes into the fight, looks phenomenal, and gets the win. Another fight where the opponent just had nothing for him, and he just dominated. Again, feel-good moment of the season. He got the contract. Without the story, would he have gotten a contract? Probably not. He looked decent, but the story behind his performance and all that, you gotta give him a contract. Dana does have a heart after all, which still, I know that was still a debate for a while. And, yeah. Good, feel-good story of the season. Good to see Sosa in the UFC. Again, without all the backstory, would he get the contract and be as good, be looked at as highly as he is? Probably not. I think he'll be fine in the UFC, but nothing special. But again, with everything he did go through, good for him. He earned it. Hyped. Feel good story of the season. What else can you say? Good for him, man. Good for him. And that was week 6. Very decent. Again, a little bit of a step down from week 5 and 4, but it was fun. Got a nice upset in the co-main, a good story in the main, interesting prospects here, a dud here. It was good. It was very good. Good start to the second half of the season. Yeah, what else can you say? A nice upset and a feel-good story. The highlights of week 6. Then we hit week 7 a week later, which was very decent. Yeah, this was a very good week. This could take the crown for the best week easily, as I think we had all finishes and all contracts, so you'd love to see it. So let's talk about it. Week 7, going deeper into the second half of the season, we began week 7 with another light heavyweight contract given out to the winner of the first fight. Again, I told you every first fight winner gets a contract. This time it was Rafael Tobias, 14-1, 22 years old. Got a quick finish to open the card. What was it? 3.5 minute rear naked choke. Looked good. Bipolar, great nickname. 22 years old, young. Light heavyweight, needs anything they can get. He looked good. Started off week 7 with a bang. Yeah, another very interesting prospect. See what he can do. Kind of hard to gauge these heavier weight class guys. They don't get a lot of fight time, and if they do, they're probably fighting a can. So what else can you say? We'll see what Tobias does here. Intrigued team in the UFC. Very young, from shoot to box. Start off week 7 with a bang. See what he does. Then we had in the second fight of week 7, another great finish here, and another very interesting fighter here as we go from light heavyweight to featherweight with Javier Reyes in her second fight. 22-5, 32 years old. Got a very nice finish here over a short-nosed opponent. Very experienced. Obviously, got a lot of knockouts and submissions. Kind of like the Douglas guy from a few weeks back. Experienced veteran, got a lot of finishes, seems to be entertaining. See what he can do. A little bit older, again 32, from Colombia. The market there really don't got anyone from. I think he might be the only Colombian fighter in the UFC at this point. 'Cause I can't think of anyone else. See how he does in the UFC. Another Reyes in the UFC to join Dominic, who fought on the Saturday after this guy did. Didn't go too well for Dom, but went well for Javier. And see how he does. He's already pretty experienced, but how does he do against better competition? Then we had, after that, our third fight, our only other double contract fight, and of course it was the other female fight of the season. Sadly a robbery, but still a banger. I'll go like this for this one, as we had Jacela Chavez versus Sofia Montenegro. Great fight. These two went at it. Complete robbery, and there's no way Sofia lost this fight, but either way, both got signed, which probably both would have got signed anyway. Yeah, this was a great fight. One of the best fights of the season. Big with bloody. It was great. Yeah, this was great. What else can you really say? Both deserved a contract. First, and I believe, only robbery of the season. This was great. Very good. We'll talk about Sofia first, since she won this fight. Sofia, 6-2, 26 years old, kind of a female Esteban Ribovics, who I think she trained with. Yeah, she seems like a little badass. Is she gonna be a champion or anything? No, probably not. But she can go in there and have some fun fights. She seems like a fun fighter. Yeah, had a banger here. Yeah, I think out of the 4 female fighters who were on the shows this year, and really only 3 of them deserve to get signed. Sofia might be the best one. Froyo's good, but we'll see how she does against someone who's not a tomato can like Dyer. Good for Sofia. See how she does. Got robbed here, but still got a contract at least. See how she does. And for the winner, not to take anything away from Chavez, Jacela Chavez, who did not win this fight, but did have a banger. 6-0 on paper, 28 years old. She did prove to a lot of people she looked like she was going to be a fake record bum. But nah, she came in here and had a banger. She looked pretty decent. See how far she can go. Again, probably not gonna be a champion or anything, but if she keeps having fights like that, I don't think anyone's gonna complain. And yeah, she shut a lot of people up who thought she was just gonna be a padded record can. She went out there and fought, had a banger, didn't win at all, if we're being honest, but did deserve a contract. And yeah, good for Chavez. Good win. And great fight. Not very much else to say there. Both deserved a contract. Great fight. Complete robbery, but at least Dana made it right. And, what else can you say? Banger. Then we had in the second to last fight of week 7, the co-main at featherweight. And, maybe the best fighter of the episode. Long name, so you know he's scary. Murtazali Magomedov in the co-main, 10-0, 26 years old. Long name, ends in OV, can actually strike. Yeah, this guy looks good. One of the best fighters from the second half of the season. Ran through his opponent, who was like a Khabib training partner or some shit. This guy looked good. We'll see how far he can go in the UFC. Featherweight, deep division, so it's going to be difficult, but again, long name, so you know he can grapple. Tiachi knows how to strike as well. See how far this guy can go from Kyrgyzstan, so not many fighters from there. See what happens, man. See how far he can go. Again, one of the best fighters from the second half of the season. Yeah, he could be scary, man. He might be scary. And then in the main event to end week 7, we had a pretty decent upset here. You know, neither guy looked like they were a good fighter, but what can you do? And we had a good knockout at least to end week 7, that being Montas Kondratavichus. I said that completely wrong. 8-1, 26 years old. Got the nice first round knockout against Danny Barbier by knee. Or that was a knee that dropped me with no rand. Yeah, he was a pretty decent underdog here. Did get the finish and the win. Got the contract. Yeah, don't love that he's come from Cage Warriors, which, you know, all see if you look at most of the losers, or a good portion of them from the season, they came from Cage Warriors. So, you know, take that as you will. Yeah, he earned the contract. Do I think he's good? Probably not. I don't think he's going to do a whole lot in the UFC, but yeah, time will tell. Going into middleweight, which needs anything they can get. See what this guy can do. Got to upset, earned the contract. The Cage Warriors, not great to become from, and I don't think he's gonna do much. See if he can prove me wrong. Lithuania, which with Stoyarenko getting cut, doesn't have shit. Maybe he'll be their shining light. Time will tell. Welcome to the UFC. I'm not completely sold on you being some great prospect, but prove me wrong. And that was week 7. I would have to say the best week so far. All bangers, all great finishes, all finishes. One of the best fights of the season, one of the best fighters of the season, some good stuff around it. This was great. Best week so far. What else can you say? Great. Loved it. 6 contracts, all deserved. Great card. Great week 7. But there were 3 more, and will any of these last 3 weeks top it? Let's take a look as we go into the next week, a week later. After the best weeks of the season up to the point, we go into week 8, from week 7 to week 8. And we had a week that was very interesting. I ranted about this one plenty in the recap to this week, so go watch that. I won't go too much in depth here, but, you know, I'll talk about it a little bit. As we had week 8 of a card I ranted about plenty, which began with a dud. So I was wrong. Week 1 and now week 8 were the only 2 to not have a first fight contract, because this fight was fucking terrible. As we began week 8 with the dud of the card, and obviously the only non-contract of the card because it was terrible. Another one of the worst fights of the season between Rashid Vagibov versus Paulo da Silva. Yeah, this fight was terrible. Vagabov thought he was Hamzat. Da Silva's awful. Dana didn't give a contract. It was extremely boring. One of the worst fights of the season. Shit. But then we got back to decent fights, beginning with our first of 4 finishes on this card, and another Brit. This one I think a little better than Lee Scott at featherweight. Curtis Campbell. Yeah, he got a quick finish here over a tomato can. 8-0, 23 years old, British, so he's gonna get hype. Again, I think he's better than Lee Scott, but time will tell there. Featherweight, so weight class above Scott. Again, looked good. Interesting personality, interesting look. We'll see how he does. Not really much else to say. Didn't get to see a lot here, especially since he fought a terrible opponent. But we'll see how he does. Should be interesting. A lot of hype behind him. He'll definitely be debuting in London, I would have to imagine. And yeah, not really much else to say. Good. Maybe he'll be the Brit they can finally hype up the right way because he's good and not just because he's British Patty. Yeah, let's wait and see. Then we had, after that, another guy who walked through a pretty shitty opponent in a few minutes in the next fight, as we had in the third fight of week 8, another easy win for the winner here, that being Christopher Alvarez, 7-1, 28 years old. Again, fought a shitty opponent who clearly had no training at all. Looked good, got a quick finish. Yeah, same thing as Campbell, quick, easy finish. Didn't get to see a lot. See how he does. Going into lightweight, right? Welterweight. Yeah, fought one of the scariest looking guys of the season, but he was a complete little bitch. And yeah, let's see how Christopher does. Not really a giant opinion on him. I think he's the most forgettable guy of this episode. And yeah, let's see if that holds true. Still got to finish in contract. Let's see how he actually does, though. Not much else to say there. Sorry, Christopher. Then after that, we got our second brother of the season. His brother just fought a few days ago and got a great win, but this one was the first one to fight recently and get the win, kicking off the streak for the Canadian brothers, that being the second brother to get signed this season, Luis Jourdain, 9-3, 28 years old, obviously the brother of Charles Jourdain. Maybe better than Charles, to be honest. He had a great performance here, looked well-rounded, talented, great. Excited to see him in the UFC. Again, we just saw Charles dominate David Grant a few days ago. Luis did kick off the winning for the Jourdains in this last month or so, getting a win here. Sucks they couldn't get Luis on that Vancouver card, but hopefully he fights sooner than later. And yeah, let's see. Another Jourdain in the UFC. Both look to be good. Charles is dominating bantamweight. Luis looks maybe to be better than Charles. Yeah, excited to see him in the UFC. Between him and Cezay Olszejczyk, two brother duos, way better than the Bonfils and whoever the fuck else the last couple years. Yeah, we'll see which brother goes further, Luis or Cezay Olszejczyk. So good to see some brothers getting signed. And, yeah, keep the family ties in the UFC going. See what Luis can do. How does he follow Charles's footsteps, or maybe he'll make his own. Time will tell. And then in the main event of week 8, we ended with a bang that came from the main event winner at, I believe, middleweight, Damian Pinas, 8-1, 23 years old, from Aruba, no idea where the fuck that is, but he put it on the map here, getting a nice win. Looked great, ran through his opponent in less than 2 minutes. Maybe one of the best middleweights signed of the season, him and Susurkayev. He looked good. Excited to see him in the UFC. Again, middleweight, as I say, if everyone they need anything they can get. Pinas looked good. If you suck, your name's gonna definitely be turned to penis. And yeah, we'll see how he does. Looked good, and week 8 on a bang. Yeah, not really much else to say. And that was that for week 8. Very decent. I wouldn't say in the discussion for the best week is in the middle of that discussion, but it was still good. Ended with a bang with Jourdain and Pinas. These two did pretty decent. First fight was a dud. it was fine. It was a pretty decent week. Got some good prospects out of it, at least on paper. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Very good shit. Very good. Then we go to week 9, which I think might take the cake for the best week of the season just because it was pretty damn crazy. We had a lot here. It was only like 2 weeks ago, or yeah, 2 weeks ago, so I don't need to say a lot here. But yeah, if you still remember this week if you watched it, even if you didn't, you heard about it. Probably the best week of the season. What else can I really say? Let's look at it. I just did this time 2 weeks ago. Let's look at it one more time. Beginning at light heavyweight with, I think, the quickest fight of the season. Beginning week 9 with a bang, especially compared to what week 8 began with, and that bang that came from Luke Fernandez, who got, again, the quickest one of the season in 15 seconds. Yeah, good for Luke. Ran through his opponent, who looked like just a flabby Brazilian guy who couldn't win a fight if he tried. Yeah, 15-second knockout. You're gonna get signed every day of the week, no matter what. Shocked he doesn't have his debut booked yet because he took no damage, but I can imagine he'll fight very soon. He looked good. Can't look bad in a 15-second win. Start off the card with a bang. Welcome to the UFC. What else can I say? 15-second knockout, one of the quickest finishes in Contender Series history. The most flawless victory of the season. Yeah, can't start much better than that. But then we did have a little bit of a dud here, as we had, in my opinion, the final terrible contract of the season and a very terrible fight. As in the second fight, before the fireworks really started on this card, we had Luis Felipe Diaz, 16-5, 30 years old. Yeah, this was definitely the black sheep of the card. This fight was terrible. The one he had with Donovan Hedrick. Terrible fight. Neither looked like a UFC level fighter or ready fighter. Yeah, no idea why Diaz got signed. Sloppy, shitty fight where he did get a finish late. Diaz is gonna get crushed in UFC. Like, at least Dyer's young, and she could get better. And even the Sosa guy from, like, week 3 at least made a nice comeback win. I don't know, I think Diaz might be the worst fighter overall to get signed, because he just looks like some journeyman fighter. He's going to get demolished in the UFC, in my opinion. He's not good. He's meant to be an LFA prelim guy. And, yeah, he's terrible. Worst overall fighter signed this season. At least he won his fight, so he's still better than Dyer. But, yeah, I think this is a terrible signing by Dana. Don't know what he was thinking here. He just signed a guy who's going to be cannon fodder for, like, fucking Zachary Reese and shit. So, yeah, not good. Worst fighter signed this season, talent-wise, because there don't look to be much there. And then we had when this card really started. Obviously, I talked about this one 2 weeks ago, so I'm not gonna go super in depth here. If you want to hear me go more in depth on this, you can go. I recapped all 10 of these weeks right after they happened. So go to week 9. Talked about 2 weeks ago, because I talked about these plenty, especially this guy. So if you want to go hear that, go listen to that. So, but I was to talk about a tiny bit here, as after that dud, we got to when this card really started and what made this the best card of the best week of the season, being with, in my opinion, who could be the best fighter of the season, my favorite fighter of the season, Manuel Rodriguez, a man I've hyped up plenty, a man I talked about plenty in the recap video. I hyped up as much as he possibly could. This kid's gonna be special. 6-0, 25 years old. This kid's gonna be special. I think he has that thing. Susarkaev might be the biggest name of the season so far, and I think even as right now for a while, he will be the fighter of the season. But I think when we look back 5 years, 6 years from now, this kid's gonna be good. I talked about plenty. I don't want to get another tangent. Emmanuel's great. I think he's the best. I think he'd be the best fighter of the season. He has that thing. Like that classic saying, what is that thing? Emmanuel Rodriguez is that thing. He's good. He's fucking good. Flyweight has another scary fighter in it. I can't, well, a year from now, I can't wait to be seeing what we're saying about Emmanuel. He's good. Best fight, my favorite fighter of the season, the best fighter of the season possibilities. But 6, 7 years from now, he might have a belt around his waist. And then, obviously, the highlight of the season. So right after Emmanuel, we went from maybe the best fighter of the season to the best fight of the season and in the show's history. I don't need to say anything here. You've seen this fight by now. I don't need to add any more to it. As we had after Emmanuel, we had the best fight in Contender Series history in the co-main of Week 9. Adrian Luna Marietti versus Mark Vologin, or whatever. Greatest fight in Contender Series history. Might be the fight of the year. Both got signed on the spot. Both got a bonus. I don't need to tell you about this fight. Respect to both. We're not going to see him for a while after this fight. Again, fight of the season. Best fight in Contender Series history. Banger. Both got signed. Both deserved it. Don't even need to click on them. Can't wait to see him in the UFC. Both looked great. What else can I say? If you haven't seen this, go see it. I can't do it justice. Best fight in Contender Series history. What else can I say? I don't need to tell you anything more that you don't already know. Can't wait to see both in the UFC. If they keep having fights like that, can't fucking wait. Nothing else to say. And then we had to end Week 9 on kind of a dimper note, a whimper note, a shittier note, whatever way you want to put it. Ending with another Khabib Nepo baby having a below average performance, because that's all they do. Ending Week 9 with Magomed Zanukov. 8-0, 30 years old. Another Khabib Nepo baby, but this one knows how to strike. Kind of. Not very well. Yeah. I don't think he's that great. I guess he got the contract, but only because obviously you can't upset Khabib. Yeah, he's just like Islam, Umar, Usman, Saeed. They're just riding Khabib's coattails. They're not actually good. If they weren't friends with Khabib, they would be fucking working at Starbucks. They're not good. This guy is going to get beat by, put him in there with Drew Dober. He'll chin this guy, or Esteban Ribovic. Yeah. But he broke the strikes record for days. I don't care. He sucks. He's just another Khabib Nepo baby. And he ended this great card on a shittier note. What else can I say? Bleh. But that was Week 9, probably still the best week of the season, just because we got this 1-2 punch of greatness, and plus 15-second knockout. I'd probably still say this was the week of the season, but yeah, did have some duds, but the good was good. I enjoyed it. Best fight in Contender Series history, the best fighter of the season, it would seem, in my opinion. Can't complain. Probably the best week of the season, in my opinion. And then we ended it with what we talked about a week ago, so I don't gotta go super in depth here. Week 10, the special 6-fight card to end the season on a high, and it was a high, alright. 6 more fights, our final 6 talk about before we get to some extracurricular activity. A few other things we'll talk about after this, but not too much longer. Let's not make it any longer than it needs to be. Let's talk about Week 10, the final 6 fights, the final week, a very decent week here, which again we talked about last week, so if you want a more immediate reaction to what happened here, go back to that recap. But for what I think a week later, we obviously began with the first contract winner of the final week, that being the returning with Schultz, I believe the second fighter and only other fighter to return and get a contract this season. 8-2, 29 years old. Yeah, again, he looked good. Knocked down his opponent, calf slicer, or can't come, or not that. What was it called again? Suliev stretch, which we've not seen since the Beetle was fighting. So it's been a while. Is he good? No, but do I think he earned the contract? Yeah. I still think he's gonna get smashed in the UFC by legit fighters, or even not legit fighters. But he earned the contract. Good for him. There you go. Not much to say, and even less to say about the next fight, which, just like last week, I talked about in very little, and I won't say much more here, as we had in the second fight of Week 10, the worst fight, and the only non-contract winning fight, Jovan Leka versus Azamat Nuftiliev. Yeah, this was low-level heavyweight garbage. Azamat's a complete padded record can. Leka could have finished the fight whenever, but sucks and just didn't. Awful fight. Leka will, again, another guy who will probably step in on short notice in the future. Azamat can. Again, one of the worst fights of the season. Pretty simple. After that, we hit, in my opinion, probably the best fighter of this episode, at least prospect-wise, that's right now. Michael Oliveira in the third fight of Week 10, 9-0, 27 years old. This guy looked good. Didn't look great in round 1, probably lost that round, but when he turned it on in round 2, he looked like a sniper. His striking was accurate, crisp, powerful, clean, whatever term you want to use. It was great. Young, good striker, good power. Again, he looks to be the best fighter from this week at least, and one of the better fighters from the second half of the season. He looked very good. Excited to see him in the UFC. Oliveira's did pretty alright last week, going 2-2. Him and Charles are the only two to win, and he looked very good. Not really much else to say. Good win for Michael. Again, probably the best fighter of Week 10. When he turned it on, his hands were clean. He looked scary good. Then we have, after going 9 weeks of 5 fights to get a midway point, it's weird. We had our fourth fight of the episode, the probably best fight, but the worst fighters, or one of the worst fighters, it would seem. As we had our third contract winner in our fourth fight of Week 10, Maran Rahiki, 7-0, 23 years old. Everything I said last week, I still believe. Rahiki's fight was a great fight with shit fighters. The opponent, Ananias Mulamba, who we will see on Contender Series next year, probably lose again. They had a great fight. Both got knocked down, both had moments, yada yada. And I'm not saying Rahiki didn't deserve a contract, because he did get an amazing knockout to win the fight. But yeah, this fight, it was a great fight between shit fighters. Yeah, I don't know what you want me to say, really. That's how I look at it. So, prove me wrong, Rahiki. I think he sucks. He's young at least, there's that. And I'm not saying he didn't deserve the contract again. Great fight. But, yeah, not really much else to say. Great fight, shitty fighters. Freaky Rahiki, great nickname though. Again, I talked more in depth about these last week, so just go watch that, really. As then, after that, we had maybe the knockout of the season in our co-main event, our second to last fight of the season. Again, probably the KO of the season, as we had giving us that amazing KO, Juan Diaz, 15-1-1, 27 years old, from Peru, so he's probably gonna suck in UFC. Yeah, you've probably seen the knockout by now. Beautiful spinning back elbow. Again, maybe the knockout of the season. Amazing. Holy shit moment. Contract on the spot. Great. What else can you say? Peru might have a good fighter for the first time ever. Welcome to the UFC, great finish. Still don't know why he was fighting a guy who was coming in off a fucking loss. But, happens, and, don't know why they don't bring in the guy who beat him, but I would take logic. Great win for Diaz, great knockout. yeah, maybe the knockout of the season. Saving the best for last, it would seem. And speaking of the last fight of the season, number 51, the 51st fight of the season, in the last one we're going to talk about, that ending with our final contract winner of the season, the light heavyweight, Levy Rodriguez, 6-0, 29 years old, beating Freddie Vidal, who obviously was coming back for a second fight. Had a super unimpressive win in his first fight, came back, tried to do the same shit, and got smoked. Dana hates him for good reason, because he's boring. And then Levy put him to sleep to get his contract and a win to end the season on a high. Yeah, good for Levy. Like I said last week, we didn't get to see a lot. It's light heavyweight. It's hard to tell how good someone is. Vidal is terrible. So, yeah, let's see what happens. Good win for Levy, ending the season on a high. Stopped Vidal from stinking up the joint, as Dana would say. And, yeah, well, to UFC Levy, ended the season on a high. Not as high as Diaz would have been, but still. And, yeah, light heavyweight gets another body, which is much needed. And, yeah, very good, very cool. Great way to end the season. Freddie fucking sucks. Got a second opportunity and did not decide to get better. Tried to do the same boring shit. Didn't work. Great win for Levy to end season 9. And there you go. That's all the fights and the fighters. All, I think, what was 46, 48, something like that. Contract winners. To go over the ones who I thought were the best. The main ones, I'm not going to talk about, I'm not going to point out everyone, but the biggest ones. Susurkayev, of course, has to be on the list, high on that list. I'll try and name like 10. Yeah, I'll try and name 10. Susurkayev, and I'm not going to go in order. Susurkayev, definitely on that list. Jimenez, definitely on that list, he's good. Who else? Yakyayev, number third on that list, not in that order, but he's really fucking good. I like Nalo, and yeah, some of these are not the best fighters, they're just who I like the most, so really my favorite fighters, or whatever. Nalo, really was a fan of him, thought he was good. Asplund, great guy, number 5. Guess we're getting one every episode, right? Sosa, how could you not be a fan of him for his story? Number 6. Number 7, on week 7. I really like Sofia Montenegro. She could be number 7. I'm not trying to pick one every episode, I swear to God. Week 8. Luis Jourdain, very cool. Good to see. Happy he got his shot. Join his brother. Emmanuel, of course, like, that's self-explanatory there. And we'll go, Michael Oliveira will be number 10, so. My top 10 favorite fighters this season: Susurkayev, Jimenez, Yakyayev, I don't know why Tapaji's running slow, Nalo, no one there. Hector Sosa, Sofia Montenegro, Emmanuel Rodriguez, Luis Jourdain, and Michael Oliveira. I think that's 10, right? Can I count? 1, 2, 3. I didn't name 4. Oh, Asplund also, so that would be 10. So there you go, it's Asplund. There's your 10. So those are my favorites for the worst of the season, the worst contracts. Usually I would point out 4, but there's only really 3 I could find. And obviously it's the ones I already talked about. Manuel Sosa, Chanel Dyer, and Luis Felipe Diaz. I think those were the worst 3 contracts of the season. I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope they all do great in UFC, because I don't want them to waste a spot on the roster. But yeah, those are the worst 3 contracts of the season. you always can prove me wrong, but I usually call this pretty good. Like you go back to tweets I made for the last 2 seasons, I was on the money with like every one of the ones I called the worst contracts. So we'll see if this year's the same. Again, Manuel Sosa, Chanel Dyer, and Luis Felipe Diaz, the 3 worst contracts this season. I couldn't even find a 4th. I'll give Dana props there. He was really good with contracts this year. Out of 40 something he gave out, only 3 were actually terrible. I'll give him props when they're due. So there you go. Best fires of the season. You already know Luna and Bogdan. It might be Fire of the Year, to be honest. Best Flying Contender Series history. What else can I add? Knockout of the season. I'm feeling Juan Diaz. Like, I'm trying to think what else could take it. The only other one that comes to mind is the Larion Douglas one, which was phenomenal, but was it better? I don't think so. I think it goes to Juan Diaz for knockout of the season, but there's a few other good ones. But I would say Juan Diaz 1 and Larion Douglas 2, the 2 best knockouts this season. They were great. What else? To talk about a few losers I want to bring up, or already just one, but let's see, what losers do I want to bring up? That took an L. Let's see, none there. Shout out to Manuel. Again, I talked about that when I talked about week 2. That guy was tough. Good respect to him. Had a banger. God, Antoine, so disappointing. David McGoyan. I think this is the biggest robbery of the season contract wise. I don't know how he didn't get a contract here. He had a banger, should have been a draw. I think David McGoyan got robbed here. I think we will see him again in the future. He's very good. Again, his fight with McMillan should have been a draw. Should have got signed. Yeah, I think he's the biggest robbery of the season in terms of not getting a contract, even off a loss. He should have got one. The fight should have been a draw. I think he got a little bit fucked there. I think that's the only loser, like the main 2 I want to talk about, because outside of that, there's not, like, most of the losers were shit fighters. They lost, obviously. These fucking clowns who I ranted about plenty a couple weeks ago. Stop putting these clowns on in the UFC. They're not good. They don't know. They're training and they're not getting training, so they just know how to throw one big punch. Stop bringing these guys in. They suck. Jesus fucking Christ. Pinos is good. The other guys are not. Vlogged, and of course, respect to him. Fucking psychopath. And God favorite all you shit to bed like no other, man. So, and obviously Dana already confirmed we'll see Mulamba next season. So, what else? Robbery of the season. Sofia Montenegro's fight, self-explanatory there. Talked about it, but she got contract at least. Upset of the season. I would have to go through and look. I really don't know what would take the cake there. I'm thinking Muhammad Ali won, because that was a pretty big upset. Like everything else, like I don't think there was any giant, like there was nothing like a UNC Dubin type of win this season or like anything like that. It would have been cool, but yeah, I think probably Muhammad Ali would come to mind first for that, unless I'm just blatantly forgetting something. But yeah, that's the one that would come to mind. Because how big of a favorite was this guy anyway? He was minus 300. There might have been a bigger favorite to lose, but I can't think of him. So yeah, I'd probably say that was upset of the season. And yeah, I'm trying to think anything else I want to go over. I can't trying to think anything. I talked about my favorite fighters, worst fighters, fight, knockout, robbery. Oh, the best week of the season, I would say, was week 9, like I said. The worst week, Mm. Maybe week 6. I'm leaning week 6 or 8, I believe. Or no, yeah, 6 or 8. Like, I think I'm gonna say week 8, which is funny, right? I think the talent level for a lot of losers here was very low. The last 2 fights were good, but yeah, I might say week 8 was the worst. Week 1 can always take. Week 1 was bad, but that got to Shirkaev, so that kind of gets a pass. Week 1 and week 2 was decent. Week 3 through 7 were decent. Yeah, I'd have to say week 8 was probably the dud. So week 9 was the best, and then week 8 was the worst. Make that make sense? And yeah, I think that's that. 90 minutes later, I don't think I had anything left to say about Contender Series 2025, Season 9, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, what is, again, this Contender Series is going to get a 9 out of 10. It's always phenomenal. Again, and for the records, it was the most finishes in a Contender Series season ever. I forget what the number was, 40 something, 50 something. Again, contracts, there was like 40 something, almost 50. Yeah, it was great. Again, Dana did a great job of contracts. I could only find 3 terrible ones. And this was great. I had a great time. Enjoyed it. Contender Series, we always love it. And like I said last week 10, that recap for week 10, Contender Series, we're gonna miss you for a year, and can't wait for the next 10 weeks. So there you go. We'll see how good this ages. This is definitely a video to come back to in a year or every couple years, and see how good this aged. Will all my takes be correct? Probably not. Some of the fighters I talked about on my favorites list will suck. Will all the fighters I talked about on the shitty list be ass? We'll see. Again, the main reason I'm doing this is for in the future. How will this age? Time will tell. And plus, it's just kind of an overall thing if you wanted to hear if you didn't want to watch all my recaps, which I think combined would have been much longer than this video. There you go. So you can skip around week 1 through 10, any fighter, every contract winner I talked about. And yeah, every fight I talked about, all 51. There you go. Great, I enjoyed it. And season 9 in the books. We'll be waiting for season 10. So, that being said, not very much else to say. Hope you all enjoyed this. Something a little different. I enjoy doing it. I've been excited to do this since last week, because I came up with this idea last week, and I've been like giddy to do it because it's such a fucking fun idea to me. And yeah, hope you all enjoyed it. And yeah, that's about that. Next Tuesday, I'll be doing another video. I'm not gonna spoil what it is, but I think y'all are gonna enjoy it. I think it's a very interesting one that came to mind also last week. Has a very fun idea. I won't spoil it. Next Tuesday is a very different idea I think y'all would like, so be ready for that. That's the video I've been, like, I'm itching to do that one, but I'm saving it. Can't wait. Be on the lookout for that. It's gonna be good, I hope. The idea is great. Can I do it justice? We'll see. But yeah, there you go. That's about that. Contender Series Season 9 recap done. Fun. I enjoyed it. And yeah, it's good to not be breaking down something or recapping a card. So just talking about the fighters, season. Contender Series, we love you. We're gonna miss you for a year. We can't wait for the next 10 weeks. So, that being said, I'll end this by saying, as always, please like, comment, subscribe. 200 subs go by the end of 2025. As always, unless I'm ready to say something, which I don't believe I am. After an hour and a half, it'd be hard for you to say something. So let's stop talking about Season 9 of the Contender Series. Let's see how it all plays out. Maybe we'll look back on it a year later. We'll be doing another video just like this a year from now. We'll see. We'll see how many of these I get right and wrong. Who will prove me right and wrong? Time will tell. But to get to that future, we gotta say, as always, next time in video, I'll see y'all on Friday for the 321 breakdown. Streams Tuesday through Sunday, and shorts when I do them. As always, RX out. Good vibes. Only